Welcome to KGN Caribbean News. I'm Carisha Graham. Here's what's making headlines in this week's Caribbean Crime Watch. Police in Antigua are investigating a shooting in the Creekside area. Investigators say a man and his girlfriend were sitting in a parked car late last Wednesday night when someone in a gold SUV drove by and opened fire. The vehicle was hit twice, but no one was injured. Officers are still trying to figure out who was behind the wheel and why it happened. Police in Bahamas are investigating after a 39-year-old American woman was found dead inside a hotel room on Paradise Island. Officers say the discovery was made last Thursday afternoon after another guest alerted hotel staff. Investigators have not released the woman's name and the cause of death has not yet been determined. The case remains under investigation as authorities work to learn more about what happened. A family in St. John, Barbados is living in fear after their homes came under attack. Gunfire ripped through one house while another, where an 11-year-old child was asleep, was set on fire. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Relatives believe the violence is tied to testimony given in a murder trial several years ago. They say threats have continued since then, and now the family is calling for better protection. Police are investigating while government officials are stressing the urgent need to safeguard witnesses and their families. A teenager is now behind bars in connection with the murder of a well-known businesswoman in Mocha, Guyana. 19-year-old Joshua Roach faced a magistrate this week accused of gunning down 51-year-old Desiree Hyman outside her boutique in July. Police say two masked men pulled up on a motorcycle during what appeared to be a robbery attempt. Hyman resisted and was shot multiple times. Roach was remanded to prison and will return to court in October as the investigation continues. A well-known Guyanese artist is in the hospital after gunfire erupted outside her home. Police say 33-year-old Lola was sitting in her car late Saturday night when a gunman pulled up on a motorcycle and opened fire. She was struck several times and rushed to Georgetown Public Hospitals. Detectives are reviewing surveillance video and one person is already in custody as the investigation unfolds. Police in St. Mary, Jamaica have charged a man with the murder of his older brother. Investigators say 57-year-old Cantuan Clemens was taken into custody after his 71-year-old sibling Dennis was found dead inside his home in Jeffreytown last weekend. Neighbors reported seeing their younger brother leaving the house just before the body was discovered. Dennis had a severe head injury and was later pronounced dead at the hospital. Dancehall artist Squash has pleaded guilty in a U.S. courtroom, pleading to charges of being an undocumented immigrant in possession of a firearm. As part of a plea deal, prosecutors dropped a separate weapons charge and agreed to recommend a reduced sentence. Even so, Squash could still face as much as 15 years in prison, a $250,000 fine, and a possible deportation. A sentencing date has not yet been set. A man from Town in Trinidad and Tobago is facing a murder charge in connection with a deadly stabbing late last month. Police say 20-year-old Felix McLean was arrested after 40-year-old Sharon Balkaran was found dead along Railway Road on August 24th. Investigators believe the two men got into an argument that turned violent. McLean has since been formally charged and is expected to appear in court to answer to the allegation. Haiti remains in crisis as gangs tighten in their grip on the capital. Nearly 90% of Port-au-Prince is now under armed control, forcing the government to extend a state of emergency across several regions. The violence has left thousands displaced and claimed more than 1,000 lives in recent months. The U.S. has also extended flight restrictions over the capital after reports of gunfire near aircrafts. Police in St. Kitts and Nevis are investigating an armed robbery at a supermarket in the Sandlers. Investigators say a masked man walked into the shop last Monday evening, pulled a gun, and demanded money. He made off with cash before running from the scene. The crime scene unit has gathered evidence, and officers are urging anyone who saw what happened or who may have information to come forward or call Crime Stoppers. Authorities in St. Lucia have uncovered a cocaine smuggling attempt disguised as a sea moss shipment. Customs officers flagged a package at the General Post Office in Castries and found more than 3 kilos of cocaine hidden inside. Investigators later arrested a Vicksburg man linking him to the shipment. He is now facing multiple drug and custom related charges. A judge has granted him bail with strict conditions while police continue to probe the wider network behind the operation. In St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a laborer from Arnottsville is facing theft charges after police say he stole cash and valuables worth more than 2,000 euros. Investigators linked the stolen property to a 34-year-old subcontractor from the Prospect area. The incident reportedly happened earlier last week. The accused 37-year-old Manish Davis has been charged and is expected to answer the allegations in the Kingstown Magistrate Court.
And today's newscast is powered by Luxury Glam Onsley. So if you want your makeup, your hair, brows, or lashes on point, whether you're stepping out bold, bridal ready, or straight up boss babe vibes, Little One, the owner of Luxury Glam Onsley, got you covered. Trust me, this is where the glam magic happens. Hit up the number on your screen to book your glow up or catch all the info on Instagram on your screen.
Let's check the political heartbeat of the Caribbean in this week's Politics Pulse. Antigua and Barbuda's opposition leader is taking aim at the government's plan to use Social Security funds for the Jolly Beach Resort project. Jamil Pringle says the move puts pensioners' money at risk and argues the government should be exploring safer ways to grow the fund. He is suggesting new mortgage and trust programs tapping into profits from state companies and redirecting revenue from the citizenship program instead. The government has defended its plan, but the debate over how to protect Social Security continues. The government's plan to move Bahamas power and light workers into the new Bahamas grid company has hit a wall. Opposition leader Michael Pintard says the idea was flawed from the start, pointing out that no employee agreed to transfer under the conditions offered. He argues the plan left staff unconcerned about their future and failed to give Bahamians a stake in the new company. Pintard is also demanding full transparency on the agreement with the foreign partner running the grid, saying the public deserves to know what's in the deal. Barbados is keeping a strong voice at the regional table. Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs Kirk Humphrey has been re-elected as a vice president of a major social development conference for Latin America and the Caribbean. The vote took place in Brazil, where Barbados now joins several other countries as presiding officers, with Brazil serving as chair. Grenada's opposition is pushing back against a proposed bill that would lower the age of civil responsibility. Opposition leader Emilian Pierre held a public consultation last week, bringing together parents, educators, and community leaders. The overwhelming view was that the bill should not move forward. Instead, participants called for stronger protections already on the books to be reinforced. Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness will remain in office after leading his party to another general election win. Preliminary results show the Jamaica Labour Party holding a majority in Parliament, giving Holness a third straight term as Prime Minister. He's promising to push ahead with economic reforms and efforts to tackle violent crime, while the opposition has accepted defeat. Regional leaders are already offering congratulations as Jamaica look forward to the next chapter under Holiness leadership. A former finance minister in Trinidad and Tobago is sounding the alarm over the country's books. Opposition Senator Vishnu Dahampal says the next budget could be short by as much as $9 billion. He warns that rising spending and sluggish revenues are creating a gap the government will struggle to close. The United States is stepping up its military presence in the Caribbean, sending a fleet of F-35 fighter jets to Puerto Rico. Officials say the aircraft will support ongoing missions to disrupt drug cartels operating in the region. The move comes just days after a U.S. strike sank a vessel linked to Venezuelan traffickers, an operation that has fueled tension with Caracas. Washington insists the buildup is about keeping narcotics off American shores, but critics warn it could further destabilize the region. St. Kitts and Nevis Prime Minister Terence Drew is heading to Africa for a pair of high-level meetings aimed at strengthening ties between the two regions. He'll first travel to Algeria for a major trade fair before moving on to Ethiopia, where Caribbean leaders will sit down with the African Union in their first in-person summit. Politics isn't just for politicians, it affects everyone. Keep watching KGN Caribbean News for the latest events as it unfolds across the region. Health across the Caribbean. Sir Lester Bird Medical Center has launched a first of its kind program to screen every newborn for hearing challenges before they leave the hospital. Experts say early detection is vital. Addressing hearing loss within the first 6 months gives babies a much better chance to develop strong speech and social skills. The test itself is quick, completely painless, and done while your baby sleeps. Results are shared right away, and any concerns are followed through with additional support. Tension is rising at the geriatric hospital in Barbados as nurses push back against sudden transfer orders. The National Union of Public Workers says 6 staff members were told verbally they'll be moved to district hospitals as early as this week. The union argues the process is unfair and claims nurses may be facing retaliation for rising concerns about how a recent outbreak was handled. Officials point out that all staff are due to relocate to a new facility in November, and they're calling for talks with government before any transfers go ahead. Health officials in Grenada are urging the public to take extra precaution as cases of respiratory illness continue to climb. The Ministry of Health says both COVID-19 and other flu-like infections are on the rise, with children and vulnerable groups most at risk as the school term begins. Doctors are asking families to practice good hygiene, stay home when sick, and use masks in crowded spaces to help slow the spread. Doctors are warning women not to ignore the warning signs of uterine fibroids. The non-cancerous growths affect thousands of women across the island, often bringing heavy bleeding, pelvic pain, and even fertility problems. Too often, experts say women delay treatment, waiting until symptoms become severe, and surgery is the only option. Gynecologists are urging regular checkups and earlier intervention, pointing out that less invasive treatments are available when fibroids are caught early. Trinidad and Tobago's Ministry of Health is reminding citizens to take simple steps to protect their hearts and manage blood pressure. Health officials say just half an hour of activity most days, eating more fruits and vegetables, and cutting back on salt and sugar can make a real difference. They're also encouraging people to stay hydrated with water, maintain a healthy weight, and find ways to manage stress. St. Lucia is stepping up its efforts to move public health and wellness. Last week, health teams from across the region gathered in Castries for training on a digital system that helps track and manage diseases more effectively. Officials say it will strengthen the island's ability to respond quickly to health threats, and later this month, the Ministry of Health will host a Caribbean Wellness Day, sports meets, and mental health fair that bring families together for fitness, food, and fun while raising awareness about healthy living.
This segment of KGN Caribbean News is sponsored by Belam Natural Skincare, a real Jamaican brand born from the founder's own skin struggles. If you're tired of dark spots, dry patches, or uneven skin tone, these handmade soaps could be your new best friend. They've got some killer combos like kojic acid with vitamin C, turmeric and sea moss, honey, and oats, all natural, all effective. Plus, they ship all across Jamaica. And here's the catch, they also ship internationally. So, no matter where you are, you can get in on the glow. Order through the Instagram on your screen or WhatsApp the phone number, which is on your screen as well. Your skin, I go thank you. Take care of your skin, people.
Here's what's happened in the Caribbean economy with this week's Island Market Watch. Police in Antigua and Barbuda are investigating a case of electronic fraud that cost a Tamarind Hills resident $2,000. Investigators say the victim was tricked by someone posing as a telecom representative. The scammer convinced them to follow online prompts, which gave access to personal banking details. Shortly after, money was withdrawn from the victim's account without permission. Officers are reminding the public to be cautious of strange calls or messages and to verify requests with their bank or service provider before sharing any information. A Bahamian economist says Grand Bahama has the tools it needs to bounce back if the right steps are taken now. He points to the island's free trade status, its industrial base, and its shipping links as untapped strengths. The call is for targeted investment and politics that can turn those assets into long term growth. The message is clear: diversifying the economy and building resilience are key to securing Grand Bahama's future. Barbados police say the public has nothing to fear as more security cameras go up across the island. Officers insist the expanded CCTV network is aimed strictly at deterring crime and helping investigations, not monitoring people's private lives. The rollout comes as authorities respond to a spike in violent crime, with homicide numbers climbing close to last year's total. Police say the extra eyes on the street will play a key role in making communities safer. Grenada Bottling Company is looking to expand its team. With two new positions now open, the company is seeking a lab technician to help maintain product quality through testing and equipment checks, along with a microbiologist technician to focus on food safety and analyze samples in the production process. Applications are expected to have strong science backgrounds and hands-on lab experience. The deadline for submission is September 12th. Grenada and Trinidad and Tobago are moving closer together on energy cooperation. Leaders from both countries met last week and agreed to share technical data, set up a steering committee, and work jointly on developing Grenada's oil and gas regulations. The goal is to strengthen Grenada's ability to attract investment in offshore exploration. The two governments also signal plans to expand cooperation beyond energy, including possible support for Grenada's health system as it works to address a shortage of specialist doctors. Police officers will soon become a regular presence in some of Trinidad and Tobago's schools, but without firearms. The government says two officers will be permanently assigned to 50 high risk secondary schools, while others will patrol additional campuses. Instead of guns, the officers will be equipped with non lethal tools like tasers and pepper spray. Officials say the goal is to keep classrooms safe while protecting children's rights, using community policing to build trust and prevent violence on school grounds. Caribbean Airlines has suspended all flights between Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela for the month of September. The airline says the decision takes effect immediately, affecting services that were scheduled to run weekly between Port of Spain and Caracas. Passengers with confirmed bookings are being offered the option to rebook at no extra cost or request a refund. While officials have not given a detailed reason, the move follows a security risk reviewed as regional tensions remain high. Castro Central MP Richard Frederick in St. Lucia is throwing his support behind plans to modernize the city, but he isn't given a timeline. Frederick says he wants to see long detailed parking meters finally put to use and is also backing the idea of a central bus terminal to ease congestion downtown. While architectural designs for the terminal are already in hand, no date has been set for construction. Frederick insists both projects can move forward, but only when all parties are satisfied with the process. That's it for this week's edition of KGN Caribbean News. I'm Carisha Graham. See you next week right here where vibes meets truth and every island will eventually get the spotlight.